I wanted to go a little bit further on how an individual can take charge of his or her own language learning apart from a formal course. Now, Dr. Collier mentioned some things. This global thing is something I hadn't heard of, but I have some ideas for it that are very helpful. You can get these self-teaching courses that you can plug into your car as you drive along. This is called Drive Time Italian. I just went to Rome and I was reviewing my Italian in my car with this. Here is something called Living Language. It's a little bit more extensive. It has books and it has 9 CDs that you can put into your car. You can study the book and then you can listen to the cassette or listen to the cassette and then study the book. It's for me, it's Spanish because I have a house in Mexico and I have to go down there and I need to be able to interact with my in-laws and I have to improve my Spanish to do that. You can take self-teaching courses like Rosetta Stone and Living Language. This is the Living Language. Some of you, I'm sure, have heard of Rosetta Stone. They're a good bit more expensive than this. If you go to Amazon, you can get these used fairly reasonably. Rosetta Stone is fairly expensive, but they're good programs. Watching TV in the target language. That's a good thing to do if you have satellite television. Movies with subtitles, of course, you can get them on YouTube. Listening to music in the target language. Playing video games of all things. If you're religious, reading the Bible in the target language, you may already know it. So you pick up a Spanish Bible and you read, or you pick up a German Bible and you read, and you learn the language or improve the language by reading the Bible in a text you already know. Magazines, newspapers, and even children's books. Get yourself a children's encyclopedia in Spanish or French or Russian, and it will help you. Get a language exchange partner. You want to learn Arabic? There are plenty of Arabic speakers on campus. Sit down with one of them and exchange languages. He teaches you, you teach him, and you have a free tutor that you're exchanging language with. That's a very good thing. Form a language study club with several like-minded students and work on these things socially. It's easier to do it if you have some social motivation. Date a native speaker. That's always a cool way to learn language, right? Eat out at authentic ethnic restaurants where the language you're trying to learn is spoken. That builds your confidence. It may be limited, but it's something, and you're getting it. And then, of course, always you can find a tutor or find a Skype pal in the native country where you're trying to learn the language. So there are a number of ways that you can assume personal control over the learning experience, and you don't have to be, as I was when I was an undergraduate, institutionalized. I thought if it wasn't on my campus and in a class, I couldn't do it. Nonsense. Okay? You can always go beyond your classes. Not that you shouldn't take full advantage of them, but if you want something that's not here, you can find ways to get it. And I also add that when you're in your English class or your French class or your math class or your history class, doing just what the teacher says and getting an A is the launching pad. It is not the moon. Okay? It just starts you off. You're supposed to go beyond that. Okay? I wish I had done that when I was an undergraduate. I thought if I read what the teachers assigned in my Latin class, I was Mr. Whoopee, and I found out that I wasn't. I should have been reading a lot more. And that applies to everybody. So just think about that in every course. Okay? It's not just what the assignment is, but it's moving out beyond the assignment and grasping and developing. All right, thank you very much. This has been an interesting time. Thank Dr. Collier for helping me out. And there are plenty of folks around here in this room. Something to identify? Yes.
I just wanted to give a plug for learning languages. I'm a cognitive psychologist, and there's tons of research showing that learning the second or third language just really improves your cognitive skills overall. Not, just learning specific content, but just how your brain functions.
Yeah, I didn't want to get into that because there's some controversy now going on about how much it done. I'm not a brain scientist. Dr. Ackermills is, and she can speak more authoritatively about that. I'm aware of that aspect of things, and I'm very interested in it, but I didn't want to wade into dicey waters and get called on it. But anyway, thank you very much for that remark. All right. Yes, Dr. Cat.
Just wanted to make two remarks. As someone who again, I didn't study English until I was in 8th grade. I never spoke English at all. And then transitioning into English was a very hard one. And even then, I remember when I, not being a native English speaker, it's not easy to be good in English. It requires a lot of effort to learn a language. But it is very important. Right now, do you know that Boeing company has 60 employees who are Tuskegee University graduates? Because we have the trustee Clayton. She was telling me she was the head of the human resources. And Boeing has offices in 120 countries. And chief of Boeing India and chief of Boeing China both are Tuskegee graduates. Which I didn't know. And again, the way I'm saying that is, if you learn a foreign language, you go places. And especially in this globalized world, it gives you, a lot of your competitors know Mandarin or Portuguese, and when there is a position opening either in China or Brazil, guess who is going to get the job? So it's that's something very, very important why I think you should learn another language. And also one thing about language that fascinates me is the study of languages gives you a deep insight into the history of how human beings, where they originated and where they moved around. For instance, studying about the Indo-European languages and how it is branched out gives us a lot more insights into how people moved around. And also the fact that how those languages, how they are related or not related. For instance, I know both Basque and the Finnish, Hungarian languages are very unique, which is absolutely no similarity with Latin, and that also tells us as to the groups of the people who are in those places as to where they may have come from.
Yeah. The same with Sumerian, a completely isolated language. Now, interestingly about Basque, it's 10,000 years old. It's a Stone Age language. It's the only original language still left in Europe. And no one knows what it's connected to. It's just there, right? And it's a very fascinating language. And it's a language that's spoken in the Western Pyrenees area of Spain. Okay? If you want to learn it, I'm sure that there are schools out there in that area that teach it. They're very interested in keeping it alive. All right, thank you very much. Thank you, my colleagues, for their comments. There are plenty of people here at Tuskegee who will help you if you're interested in learning a language outside of the ordinary curriculum, help you find ways to do that, connect you with people who know those languages. So take a little personal, proactive interest in going where you'd like to go with the languages that you want to learn. Thank you very much for your attention.